Hey, Internets. It's the magic word. I'm Paul.
I'm Rob.
Today, we're looking at the Figure of Destiny cycle. What is that? We're going to get into it and find out.
All right, thanks for joining us, everybody. Today, we are kind of going on a journey. We kind of got into this creative flow. If you haven't seen them before, we made some videos about color shifting the card Risk, the Redeemed, and what he would look like in other colors. And so we started thinking, okay, well, what other cycles haven't been completed yet? Because Wizards just likes to make a card and then tease us that they'll make other cards in that vein, in that creative vein. So we saw a Figure of Destiny and how it kind of started a cycle with Guardian of the First Tree coming later in cons. And so that's only 2 of the 5 possibilities. So Paul and I were thinking, well, what could the other color pairings be like? So for those of you who don't know, Figure of Destiny, right down there, is a hybrid card. It's white-red, and it has 3 activated abilities where it starts as a 1/1, and then as you use each activated ability, it grows and becomes something different. So the more mana you invest, the more payoff you get. And Guardian of the First Tree, it was 3 colors, so it kind of fit the cycle, kind of didn't fit the cycle. So for this sake, we decided only enemy color pairings and start as a 1/1 for 1 hybrid mana and just continue in that vein. So let's start off with the blue-red ones. All right, so I created this card, so let me know what you think, and then Paul's gonna show you his design, and then you can kind of figure out who is better, me. So we'll leave it to the comments. I'd like to introduce you guys to Noggle Ruffian. So again, he is only a 1/1. He's a Noggle for a hybrid blue-red, and he has the first activated ability, pay a hybrid, and he becomes a 2/2 Noggle Rogue. Okay. For his second activated ability, you pay 3 hybrids, so blue-red, blue-red, blue-red. If Noggle Ruffian is a rogue, you get to loot 1. And so that's kind of like just slang for you draw a card and then you discard 1 card. If you discard an instant this way, put a +1/+1 counter on Noggle Ruffian. So there you go. For his last ability, again, it's 3 hybrids. If Noggle Ruffian has at least 1 +1/+1 counter on it, you get to rummage 1. So rummage is kind of like the red version of looting. So you would discard a card first, and then you draw a card. If you discarded a sorcery card this way, mischievous Noggle Ruffian gets +X+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. So what do you think, Paul?
I like it. It's interesting that you started us off with this card because already it breaks away from some of the conventions of the Figure of Destiny, which has the 1 and then the boom, boom, boom abilities cost more and more. And then they kind of like lead into themselves, which I know that we'll see a lot of that as we go through these videos. This one is a little different. You can do the first ability, and then you can do the second and then third, but then you can keep going back and forth. I like that. I like that, it seems very rogue-like for this card to change its name, It's very mischievous to just like add that into its name, which I think is cool, If you're playing in silver bordered, that might matter,
So I kind of want to play around because when I think of blue-red, I think of Spellslinger. So I wanted a card that played very well with the instant sorceries that you're already going to be packing into your deck. And I wanted to give the player a chance to have some card selection. So you're drawing and you're discarding. You're feeding your cards into the graveyard. And, cards in your graveyard, that's just another resource, especially when it comes to Commander games. And so, you could be discarding your starts with Madness. You could be discarding your stuff with Flashback for later on. But this guy, just loves just having those right there in a stockpile ready to just beef out and just start swinging and pounding people in the face.
And I just want to say I'm interested that you added Loot 1 and Rummage 1. That seems, it's kind of weird at first when you see it, but I was able to understand what it means. And just like they said, because we've been paying attention for years, if you haven't been up on it, they said for a really long time they would not keyword mill because it's ununderstandable. I don't know. It's not able to be comprehended by new players, you know? And then they put it in a core set. So obviously something changed their mind. In the same way, we might see loot and rummage in the future. So I thought that was interesting that you went ahead and keyworded those.
Yeah, well, I've heard people like mention those, so I figured, okay, like if it's starting to become part of the Magic vernacular, then why not go ahead and just start using it, and maybe eventually we will see them printed on a card just like that, because it will be so widespread in use that people will recognize, oh yeah, I know what that means. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into mine, the aspect of inspiration. So this costs the same as the other ones. It has the same first cost for activated ability. It's a weird. You can shuffle the cards from your hand into your library, then draw that many cards. Aspect becomes a 2/2 weird. So this is kind of like Winds of Change. Then it goes into 3. And then if Aspect is a shaman, each player discards their hand, then draws 7 cards. Aspect becomes a 3/3 weird shaman scion. And so that's Wheel of Fortune. Great card. And then for 6, if Aspect is a scion, each player shuffles their hand and graveyard into their library and draws 7 cards. Then Aspect becomes a 7/7 weird shaman avatar with flying. So that's Time Twister on the creature, which is, you know, banned in a lot of formats. But I like, so most of mine have this kind of like, they end in an avatar of like, this is the aspect of inspiration. Like if you're inspired, it's from this avatar creature that like came in and like let you do a Wheel of Fortune whenever you wanted.
That's so good. Like this is an automatic include in any deck that plays blue and red, because it's so handy. It gives you the ability to look at your hand, and if you don't like it, ship it for a brand new hand. Oh my gosh. Especially, I don't know. When I heard the second ability, when it was Winds of Change, not Winds of Change, but Wheel of Fortune, at instant speed, you could draw a new hand of 7 cards. So especially in blue, can you imagine, like you're a blue player, you have like maybe 1 card left, and someone plays like this devastating combo piece, it's on the stack, and you're like, oh, if I only had a counter spell. Oh wait, let me pay 3 mana and hopefully I could draw one. Oh my gosh, that's so good.
So you kind of said like, tell us which cards are better made. So I didn't know this was a competition, but I'd say yours is a little underpowered. But when you bring up mine is way overpowered now that I look at it. So I think I'm going to lose this one because my card would ban so quickly because I didn't put any like play it only once or play it as a sorcery or anything like that. And
that's true.
Like this is ridiculous.
Because you know how like top is restricted because top there's so much. Sensei's Divining Top.
Yeah.
Because there's game delay because people take so much time using the first activated ability. I feel like maybe weird would kind of be like top restricted, because for 1 mana you could like refresh your hand and hopefully look for something that you really need at the time. So then what would be the happy medium, Paul? Because mine's kind of like goofy, silly. Yours is like definitely very competitive. So like the spikes out there would definitely love your card.
Maybe mine can be one of those Wizards promotional cards that they only send out to like their employees and there's only like 5 in the world, so you never actually play against them. Like there's some really broken legendary creatures that they've printed that you'll never play against unless you tell your group that they can proxy it.
Oh yeah. So I don't know. I like these cards. My Noggle, that was the second card I designed. And I spent so much time being like super serious about getting my first card's abilities balanced and the stats right, that when it came to this one, I just wanted like something goofy. Uh-huh. So, I mean, I love Noggles. We only got to saw them very, very briefly in the Eventide block. And so I kind of wanted to like give a little shout out to them, letting them know, you're remembered. You're fondly remembered, Noggles. And one day we hope to see you again.
Yeah. I think we should see them again. And I want to see you again for this cycle. We're doing a cycle of cards, so we're going to cycle it out. So just come back tomorrow. You'll be able to see the next video, and you can let us know what you think. So I will see you in the future.
Yeah, please like, share, and subscribe, and